Green Bay at Detroit. How much confidence does this game give you that Love is the guy?
I'd say it's like a I've kind of been on the train, right? So it's like I never really got off. I
Okay.
was definitely more on like we want to see, some growth, we want to see some jumps. And I think these last few games, it's kind of exactly what I'm talking about. Like we know Jordan Love is not going to have the best offense around him. Nothing's changed. The
No.
receiving core still young, the O-line still banged up, still relatively underperforming. But regardless, Jordan Love's showing flashes more consistently now. Even with that receiving core, I think this is basically exactly what you want to see. I'm always, very relative of like expectations and results based off what you've given him, like what's around him. I feel like, given the circumstance, pretty damn good results.
I think what you said about the Packers being like a very bare bones team is very true. I mean, at least on the offensive side of the ball, this was definitely Love's best game as a starter. Um, 3 touchdowns, 268 yards. They played well and they beat a very, very good Lions team. But I mean, I guess you can make the argument with the games that they played against the Bears and the Packers. Are the Lions as good as like people made it out to be?
Yeah, I think the Lions are starting to get a little concerning where, especially for the fans, you're saying to yourself, I mean, obviously, we know how Dan Campbell and that regime is going to be. They're going to say everything's fine, just, a few bumps on the road. But if you're a Lions fan, you're starting to ask yourself for sure, I mean, how does that happen, right? Because when you're a dominant team, right, it happens. The one week, like I always say, you can't have a perfect season. Like it's
No.
it's bound to happen. Like you're going to slip up, you're going to have a game where you heavily underplayed. We always talk about this. But when it happens 2 weeks in a row against two subpar opponents, even if it happens one week against the subpar one and then one week you're maybe a little overmatched, maybe, all right, still not good, but understandable. When it happens 2 weeks in a row to an undermatched opponent, it's got to have you asking yourself about the preparation level. Is the preparation level exactly what it needs to be?
Right.
And it feels like maybe not right now. And here's my thing is, are the Lions still a great team? Are the Lions still a really good team? Are they still someone who can make a run? For sure. But it does feel like I'm getting a little concerned about the longevity of their run in the playoffs because you got it, like we say, you got to be able to lay the hammer down 3 or 4 in a row. And it's like, I don't know, they're struggling to do it against bad teams right now. And it's like we're heading in towards the end of the season. And I feel like when I was talking about like trajectories of teams, you either kind of like started maybe not as hot as you should have been, and then you finished really strong, and vice versa. Just maybe did the Lions take the wrong side of this train? They started a little too hot, maybe cooling off at the wrong time.
Yeah, I think also like there has been obviously this is relatively the same core that they had last year, but maybe the Lions offense has been doing a little bit um more this year. I'm saying it's later in the year. There's more tape on the offense. Maybe teams are finding ways to stop it. Jared Goff, I think, has just been like, I know he didn't have any interceptions this game, but more like turnover prone, like putting the ball in harm's way. Um, the Lions have played well, and I guess you could kind of put it on their defenses. The Packers put up how many points? 29. What did the Bears put up? It was higher 20s, right? It was 26 or something, mid 20s. Like
Yeah.
I feel like when you're playing a team that is not above 500, you as a defense, you cannot allow them to put up more than 20 points.
No, yeah. And so it's to that point, the Lions D line, 2 sacks the last entire 2 games. I think we could point to that and say, well, that's part of the beginning of the struggles here.
Yeah.
Is that the D line has not been getting home like we've seen them get home the first, slew of games here. So we're slowing down a little bit in that area. And you know me and my trenches. That's definitely the most important area that there is in the football field. So it's like, if the Lions don't pick that up soon, that's what I'm going to keep pointing to.
All right, let's move back to the other side of the ball. Christian Watson has been playing a lot better these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, hey, right after something where, like I said, I saw his dad put out a little video. Hey, yeah, he got his son going. You love to see it, especially if you're a Packers fan. Christian Watson's definitely been going here. And I think I think this is something that very likely will keep rolling. It was almost, maybe in a sense, this was kind of what was missing, where we're looking at Jordan Love and going, Jordan's got to get the stats going a little more. Him
Right.
and Christian getting involved, it's the best thing for both of them. If he keeps Christian involved, it's only good for Jordan, vice versa. I think that this is definitely a trend that should keep rolling. Because like I said, I'm not taking my words back. Where I said a few weeks ago, I've never seen a player like Christian Watson where I was like so certain they were an all pro, and then it was like, all right, nah. But I want to be clear. Not that I'm disrespecting the man saying he can't play. I'm just saying I don't think he's an all pro talent. I got tricked on that a little bit.
Yeah.
But can he still be somebody that's going to produce for you every single week? put up good numbers for sure. And as long as he keeps this going consistently, it's definitely a good trend for the Packers.
And you could say props to the Packers defense. I mean, holding, you know, the Detroit Lions to 22 points is impressive. That's 3 touchdowns. Like I mean, it wasn't 3 touchdowns, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's impressive that they're able to keep such a high scoring offense to a minimum amount of score. Like I feel like you're not really keeping the Lions lower than that.
No, definitely not. And I got to give a little quick shouts to Rashan Gary, 3-sack day, second of the season. I feel like that's not really common. That's definitely he's getting his sacks
He-
and flurries, but
he's-
hey, it works.
He's definitely worth what they paid him.
I was gonna say,
Like he's working for that contract.
and I want to talk about this real quick on the side because it was something I seen this morning too. Where Rashan Gary is in the top 10 of pressure rate of the entire league in edge rushers.
Oh wow.
And it was somewhere I wanted to point out where like 4 of these top 10 guys, all under 10 sacks, all not we'd say amazing sack numbers. I think nowadays more than ever, we're kind of moving towards a direction with this league where sack numbers are definitely more overrated than they've ever been.
Yeah, I think teams are starting to value like pass rush win rate, and then pressures as well. Like I think that is way more valued than sacks. I think that's why like the Deron Payne, like everyone's like, oh, he's gonna be the highest because he had 10 sacks last year, blah, blah, blah. But like sacks aren't necessarily like the end all be all to a pass rusher, especially when you have 4 first round talents on that line.
No, exactly, bro. It's the thing is there's got to be a lot of things that go into it. You gotta understand what went into the sacks.
Yeah.
And usually, when you look at it on tape, you see like sometimes this guy's cleaning things up. So you gotta watch every sack to understand the value of it.